A lot of issues in Tuesday night's loss to the Magic. The perimeter size seemed to kill you. The interior, we can debate that. There's a bench issue for the Warrior. The foul issues for the Warriors. The pace issues for the Warriors. The turnover issues for the Warriors. What ultimately led the Warriors to losing this game? That's what we are talking about with Mike Loginoff on today's show.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everyone? The Golden State Warriors 3-game winning streak is snapped in the home of Disney, Orlando, Florida. Final score, 121 for the Magic, 113 for the Golden State Warriors. This is Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the #1 sports podcast network out there. We come at you Monday through Friday. You can check out the show on YouTube, wherever you get your audio podcast. And if you're hanging out with us live on YouTube right now, go ahead and hit that like. It's free. It sends this show into the stratosphere to other Golden State Warriors fans. And did I mention it's free? We very much appreciate it. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. My name's Charlie Walter. My co-host name is Mike Loginoff. He joins the program today. You can find him on X @_the-log-pod. You can find me on Instagram @CWalter22, TikTok @It'sCharlieWalter, and Twitter /X @CharlieWalterTV. I guess the story of the game is the fact the Warriors really didn't win any statistic. Magic shot a percentage point better at 51 compared to 50, although you're not going to complain if you're the Warriors shooting 50%. Magic, I guess I'll say this. The Warriors won the 3-point statistic, but if you lose the 3-point statistic against Orlando, you're in serious trouble. Warriors were in trouble regardless because they gave up 27 points at the line to Orlando. The Magic out-rebounded them by 7. They had more assists. They had more steals. They turned it over less. They scored 28 fast break points. They had 16 more points in the paint, 64 total. They led by 15, whereas the Warriors only led by 4. Now, we did get a great Steph Curry start, and he did all he could. I mean, great game, right, Mike? He went 34 points, 7 of 15 from 3. Not too shabby from Steph. Jimmy Butler right behind him with 33. But the bench was pretty non-existent. What to you, whether it was the lack of bench, whether it was the live ball turnovers, whether it was the perimeter size of the Magic, what ultimately did the Warriors end today?
Chuck, I really think it came down to the live ball turnovers. That was the difference in the game. I mean, the points off turnovers, giving up 21 to the Magic, 28 fast break points, allowing the young team to get out and run. We've seen this story before in Portland. It's been a long road trip for the Warriors. They've covered a lot of miles. They've had some really intense games. And so it's not surprising to see them drop one of these in Florida. But equally, it's those turnovers that we've talked about. It's the lazy ones. It's the ones when, Jimmy's trying to get cute and throw behind the back pass to Moses Moody on a fast break when the Warriors are within 5 points. That's when they're within striking distance, and that's when they're making these just asinine turnovers, right? You have Draymond throwing the ball away at times. You have Steph throwing the ball away at times. Buddy with some terrible turnovers, both not catching the ball and passing the ball. I mean, it was just really ugly from the standpoint of the types of turnovers that the Warriors were committing tonight. And that enabled this team to get out and run and get easy buckets. And when you have a young team like the Magic, who, they've had some offensive problems this year. That's why they brought in Bane in the offseason. That's why they gave up 4 picks for Bane, right? I mean, they thought that this could be a guy that'll come in and really spice things up for them. And, Bane's had 23 points tonight. So kudos to him. But when you allow the other guys to get going in transition, that's when, sawdust makes a pile. And next thing you know, you're within 5 and then boom, you're back down by 12, right? So I think that's really what did the Warriors in. There are some other things I can talk about as well, like role player contributions. I mean, there was a play when Pods just missed a wide open layup from Jimmy. I mean, that was absolutely brutal.
Oh, God, I've got to have nightmares of that one, man.
I mean, but here we go, right? But then you have GP2 missing also a wide open layup You had Steph missing an open layup, which, I mean, you can't really get mad at Steph. He had 34, right? But
Yeah.
But still, I mean, those 6 points right there, and then the points off turnover differential, that's 9 right there. The Warriors win this game by 1 point, right? Or you can look at Buddy Hield getting lost on defense towards the end of the game. Again, when the Warriors are making a push, running a little bit of that amoeba zone, and he loses Black on the baseline, and then boom, wide open dunk. And it's just those little plays. It's the things that we've been talking about all season, that I've been talking about with you and Kolsky, Chuck, the things that I've been talking with Carey about. This team does not have the margin for error to allow this sort of play. These turnovers, these defensive lapses, they have to play almost perfect. They have to play locked in. And especially, I mean, missing Kuminga tonight, I think I agree with the chat. You know, you could have used a little bit of pop, especially at the end of a road trip. You could have used some young athletic downhill attack. But, you know, I mean, that's, as you can see, I'm a little bit fired up here tonight because it's the same old story. I don't know if I'm the bad luck charm here, Chuck, but every time we do a post-game show, unless it's the preseason, and Quentin Post is carrying the guys to victory up in Portland.
Oh, what a game that was.
Delivering.
What a game that was, man.
Taking L. So
dude,
it might be my fault, Chuck and chat, but I think that's really what it comes down to.
No, it happens. You were boots on the ground last year. We were both at the Magic game together. I was covering it. You were you had the courtside seats, and you were yelling D3 at Wendell Carter. What did he do tonight?
D3 Wendell. He
D3. He had 17 points, Mike. Yeah, come on now. That's
okay,
D1.
That's okay. Yeah, no, that's D3. That's D3 Wendell. That's the Warriors saying, we'll let this guy beat us out of anyone else. You know?
Oh, dude. You know who beats you? Is the young man Anthony Black. And hold on. So I was telling everyone the old rookie patch card, someone actually bought it for 99 cents on eBay. And now I'm about to pull that thing off and say, no, I'm putting it up for $3. He had a great game. He showed some great athleticism. He was, 8 of 13 from the floor, 21 points. Tyus Jones had probably his best game of the season with 8 off the bench. So you get 35 bench points if you're the Magic, and it's not necessarily a good bench when you go up and down. I mean, Black's the high draft pick. He's all right, but aside from that, like their bench kind of stinks currently, especially with Paulo out and slotting in some of the dudes to the starting lineup. But the Warriors bench was even worse. I mean, Al Horford goes for 9, 6, couple of steals and a block. You're not going to complain about Al Horford's minutes out there. He goes for 27 minutes. Like, what more do you want from a 39-year-old Al Horford? But Quentin Post, just a couple of points. Buddy Hield, once again, just doesn't get it going. They need that flamethrower game from Buddy Hield. They didn't get it today. They didn't get much from Peyton with just 4, and Pods, 2 of 7. He struggled to shoot it and didn't have a single assist, which when you're playing 27 minutes at the guard position, you got to connect somewhat. You got to facilitate and find somebody. And look, man, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, they did their jobs. And I've told you.
The big three showed up.
I've told you. No, here's the thing, man. I've told you that the big three is Moses Moody, it's Brandon Bajemski, and it's Jonathan Kuminga. Not because they're the best 3 players on the team, but because they have huge roles. Like whether it's as trade bait or whether it's them, improving internally, those 3 are going to dictate how far this team goes. I truly believe like you do need some depth and some consistency in order to supplement Steph Curry's unreal talent and Jimmy Butler's 33 points that he had today. And if you're getting 6 from Moody, you're getting 2 from Hield, you're getting 5 from Pajemski and a DNP from Jonathan Kuminga, you're not going to win many games. And it just sucks because it feels like it's never consistent with these guys. It's never consistent. And it's getting to the point where I'm like, trade them all, man. Overreaction.
I mean, I think the one player out of the Warriors role players that I'm starting to really be quite concerned about is Brandon Pajemski. I actually talked about this with Carey on KMBR yesterday. And we just haven't seen enough out of Brandon. And I've been someone that has been a proponent of Brandon. I'll acknowledge that, right? And I think he's shown glimpses, but ultimately, I mean, he has not showed up this year consistently enough. He's really has not made that jump or made a leap and improvement in consistency. Because, I mean, ultimately, if you're out there for 27 minutes, you're going 2 for 7, like you said, with no assists. I mean, if you're going to be the backup ball handler, you're going to want to see a little bit more creation. I think it's, if you're getting outplayed by Tyus Jones as a backup guard.
And dude, Will Richards getting 15 minutes. Like, I mean, at a certain point,
you got to give
run.
Will more, because I mean, ultimately too, Will's a better athlete than Pods. Pods is a crafty defender, has a nose for the ball. I mean, he
outscored him. He had more assists. He had, like at a certain point, just run the guy.
Yeah. Let him get some more burn. I'm not against that whatsoever. I mean, he's starting for a reason, right? And so it's just disappointing to see Pods not making a lead.
He's regressed. Yeah. I think
he really has. I think when Melton comes back, you're going to see Pods get less minutes. I mean, Wills might stay stagnant.
I forgot about Melton, to be honest with you. That's going to be nice.
Well, it'll be nice, but let's see if he can stay healthy, right? I mean, that's the story of his career, unfortunately. And he's had the best 6 games in Warriors history, behind a couple of big games from Michael Petrus maybe back in the day. But I'm really disappointed in Pods and what he's been showing the team and the fans this season. I think he really needs to step up his play, especially with his desire for a larger role. I agree with you, Moody. It would be great to see more consistency, but if he's only putting up 6 shots, you're not really going to be able to do much more. I was just overall disappointed with the contribution from the role players tonight in this game.
Yeah, we got a lot to get into. You mentioned the health of D'Anthony Melton, and just health overall in the NBA is a huge talking point. Steve Kerr got into it and basically said that the NBA needs to start bringing down these games. 82, too many. We should start talking 70, maybe less. Let's debate that coming up, as well as some of the other issues that plague the Warriors, and a nice comment that came in talking about Oklahoma City's depth compared to the Warriors. That's straight ahead on the show.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Today's episode is brought to you by SKIMS. When I found out SKIMS was making underwear for men, I jumped through my ceiling. The drywall went crazy. And obviously, SKIMS has been comfortable for years. Most guys, though, stick to whatever they've been buying since college. The same fits, the same waistbands. But SKIMS men's changed that. One upgrade, and it's obvious why everyone's been talking. My favorite thing about them is the Stretch 5. And what's so great about the Stretch 5 is you can wear it to the gym. You can also put it in your gym bag and wear it after the gym to go to the lounge, to do chores around the house, whatever it may be. It's just a versatile, non-synthetic type workout underwear. So shop SKIMS Men's now at skims.com. And when you place your order, choose podcast in the post-purchase survey. Select our show from the drop down to let them know we sent you. They don't ride up. They don't lose shape. They hit exactly where you're supposed to on the thigh. It's good stuff, but don't take my word for it. Check them out, skims.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by America's #1 sportsbook. That is FanDuel. And right now is a great time to get in on the action with NBA here. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And if you missed the start of a game, doesn't matter, because there's a thing called the live line. And also you can bet on who's going to score next. You can bet on the over-under as the game's going on. It's easy. It's fun. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
All right, one of the comments that came in, Mike, that I thought was pretty interesting, and it's that OKC's role players like Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, AJ Mitchell, they consistently give OKC 45 points every single game. And for the longest time, we have pointed to youth. We've said with Moody or with Pods or Kuminga or whoever, we've said they're young. Give them time. It takes time. AJ Mitchell's young, man. AJ Mitchell's very young. He's turned up the heat. Orlando has young players. I mean, Anthony Black can't be older than 20 years old. Tristan da Silva's in his second year in the NBA. He had 15 points today. Teams have young players. At a certain point, that's no longer an excuse. There has to be some form of consistency, and the Warriors just haven't shown it. Are you under the impression that the Warriors would be better off potentially trading some of these guys and consolidating all these bodies, because again, Golden State ran out 10 dudes. They're missing how many guys tonight, and they still ran out 10 dudes for 27 minutes, 15 minutes, 27 minutes, 12 minutes, 10 minutes off the bench. Your thoughts on a consolidation trade, or are we still going to wait? It's early in the season. It's one loss. Your overall takeaway?
I mean, Chuck, what was one of the things that we talked about this offseason? Who was like clamoring for them to pick up from, just up the freeway off of 80, right? I was clamoring for Malik Monk. And the reason why people might say, oh, that's crazy. Well, Malik Monk, he's not that great, yada, yada, yada. The reason why is it's not necessarily specifically Malik Monk who intrigues me. It's a player like a Malik Monk and a player archetype, right? Someone who can truly create for others off the bounce, someone who can create his own shot off the bounce, someone who can knock down an open shot as well, right? So it's those sorts of players that the Warriors need. They just need another person who can really fill it up and fill it up within the scheme that the Warriors run. Part of the reason why I think Malik Monk is a little bit more of a plug and play guy compared to other players in the NBA is because of the fact that Sacramento ran Mike Brown's offense for so long. And who was Mike Brown an understudy of? Steve Kerr. He ran a very similar offense to the Warriors. So I think that Malik could be a little bit more of a plug and play guy. But ultimately, I just think that they need someone who can really be that secondary third creator, or just who can really create for themselves, right? Because if it's not Steph or if it's not Jimmy, there's really not a whole lot of people who can kind of just make something happen, right? And we were hoping to see that from Pods this season of just, coming off of a screen and being able to get downhill and knock down a floater. He's not really doing that. He's making the same mistakes that he made in season 1 and 2, which is getting too far in the paint without any purpose. And then, kind of just looking over his shoulder like, oh, who should I pass it to? Who's open? Or just, being a whirling dervish in the paint and not really doing anything with the basketball. And so it's that sort of a player that I think the Warriors need. I think they need a little bit more pop, I think. And that can come in the form of a Malik Monk. It could come in the form of someone like a Trey Murphy the third out of New Orleans, because heck, Joe Dumars is willing to do anything for the betterment or, to make his team worse off like he did by trying to get Derek Queen, right? And so by trading that pick, which looks like it's going to be a lottery pick this year. So I think you go and try and pry away Trey Murphy and maybe heck even Herb Jones from the Pelicans, toss in Kuminga, toss in Moody, toss in Hield if you have to, whatever you got to do. I think the Warriors need to make, a consolidation trade at some point, because ultimately I think what the
I like her, man, but he's not going to help.
But as a defensive guy, right? Like as another kind of guard, you can throw it in the rotation like a Keon Ellis, just to kind of lock someone down on the perimeter when you need it.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily what the Dubs need right now.
Well,
right?
I'm saying if you want to do something, better defense wouldn't hurt either, right? One of the things that you even brought up was size on the perimeter. So Herb is 6'8".
You talking as a part of multiple moves, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Like I just think. Ultimately, what the Warriors' issue is with their role players is the variability in their production is too high to rely on them, right? So you're going to have the night in New Orleans where Moses puts up 30 points. That's a byproduct of Steph's gravity. We can get into that if you want. But, there's just the Warriors don't necessarily have a guy that they can look to consistently produce at a high level that isn't named Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler. And that's going to be a big issue for this team if there's not going to be someone else to contribute, right? Because then you're going to be asking these vets to really have it turned on all season long.
Well, this is the frustrating thing. You go out last NBA trade deadline and you get Jimmy Butler, you extend him, you spend all this money, you make it clear that there's a very defined window. I know Joe Lacob says windows don't exist. Windows do exist in this situation. And the window is 2 more playoffs, including this season, next season. You better get it done. And you have all these dudes potentially that you can flip in the offseason or at least look to trade them. And it seems like the Warriors remain steadfast. Like they didn't even try to trade a Pajimski, a Kuminga, a Moody, any of these young players to get someone else. And then you look at a team like Miami, they go out and they get a Norman Powell. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Warriors. Yeah. I'm wondering, could there be any player that is the old stretch and wave that we saw with like a Beal or a Dame Lillard. Could there be anything like that maybe at this year's deadline? Don't think it's going to be like Anthony Davis, but someone that seems out of the picture right now due to financial reasons that maybe could come into play.
I mean, I think only time will tell on that one.
Best
too,
case
Chuck.
scenario, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of just praying for manna from heaven, right? I mean, I think that ultimately, please. I think ultimately the Warriors' best trade piece is, Jonathan Kuminga, right? That's ultimately from a salary matching standpoint. You can package him up with a couple other folks to try and get a consolidation piece. I don't disagree with people in the chat saying that, the Warriors could use an athletic big.
Lauri Markkanen, dude. I'd go get Lauri Markkanen right now if you could somehow make the money work. And they would want draft capital. Lauri's balling, man.
He really is. He really is. And that was someone that the Warriors could have gotten 2 years ago, right? In the offseason. They didn't ultimately.
Yeah.
But but honestly, too, it's like I think that a consolidation trade is likely to happen. I think that January 15th will be when
you do.
Yeah,
You're
I think
a firm believer that they'll give up on this two timeline. This young.
I think they have to. I mean, it's ultimately because the old guys are showing you what they can do consistently for the most part, right? I mean,
they need some help.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Steph goes out there and wins those 2 games in San Antonio for you, right? With contributions from others
Jimmy
as well.
Yeah, I mean,
it
was
right?
Steph, Jimmy, and Moody has proved that.
And Draymond's defense, right?
Yeah.
He's proven his ability to still be an elite defender in the NBA and anchor tonight too. I thought Draymond had another great defensive game tonight, whether that was stepping up on the weak side, baiting people into passes, etc. So the core is still there. It's just the supplementary pieces around it. I think a young athletic big, while I agree with people in the chat who are talking about that's an interesting concept, but you just have to kind of think about how that fits in with Draymond and with just the roster construction that they have. I think the Warriors are more comfortable with spacing than they are with having an athletic big. I think the Warriors do okay even against some of those teams, to be honest with you. I mean, look at them in San Antonio against Wemby. They did okay. I don't know if necessarily a Gafford is or Derek Lively is going to vault this team into NBA contention. I think
no, dude. I don't think I think the big is just so overrated on the Warriors.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
They need Durant. They needed Durant last year. Like that would have helped. You see what he does for Houston. You can give him the ball, get to the mid range, and just give you a bucket. That's what you need.
Yeah, I mean, if the Warriors get Trey Murphy, if they get a player like a Trey Murphy, I think that would be great as well, right? Because he can knock down the shot. He can be he's just an upgrade over Moses Moody.
Why would New Orleans do it? I mean, unless you're attaching multiple draft picks.
Yeah, you give him some draft capital. You see what you can do. I mean, Kuminga and Murphy's money really ends up working out. And I also too, I mean, if the Warriors end up packaging up, if it ends up being a poo-poo platter and multiple trades with draft capital attached to it, if they're walking away with dealing Pods, Moody, Kuminga, Healed, I mean, like, if that puts the Warriors with a better chance to win now, as they tried to do last year with the consolidation trade and acquiring Jimmy, I think you smash accept yes, because the vets are proving an ability to still compete at the highest level in the NBA. If you get them more support, this team is really in contention. And I mean, have any of the young guys really proven an ability to be a franchise cornerstone guy after this old core leaves? No, they haven't
even proven that they can be solid for a week. It's a few games here and there.
Yeah.
So it's not even multiple weeks in a row. To where the last 10 you don't even get good statistics. Particularly, I think you look at what the Thunder and Sam Presti have done, and the fact that they could potentially win an NBA title this year, and if if the Clippers flame out, they could potentially get the #1 pick in the NBA draft and a loaded NBA draft. Like that to me points to the importance of draft capital. And I don't think you just fling it left and right for Trey Murphy and for Herb Jones and whatever. Like at a certain point, you got to just wave the white flag and do what you can with what you've got. But if you can trade players and 1 draft pick, whatever it may be, that to me is kind of the move. But you know, if you're talking Lowry Market and someone that looks like he could be like third team all NBA, you know, could you run a lineup of Jimmy, Draymond, Steph, Lowry Markkinen, Will Richard, and then, you know, trust Guy Santos, Peyton, Will Rich, or Melton, some of those dudes off your bench, and basically just say, look, our depth isn't going to be as strong, but we're going to have.
Well, you still have Al and Quentin probably too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think Quentin, honestly, I think he's had a pretty good season so far for the Dubs. I think he competes. I think even he's pulled down some big rebounds or competes, so that way the other big can't grab that rebound, right? I mean, I don't think Quentin's been a net negative by any means this season. I think he's been pretty solid.
I want to answer this question coming up about having bigs and why the Warriors have been so stubborn. My response, obviously, is where would the Warriors get the bigs? I also want to get into health and safety and just soft tissue and all the interesting podcast topics. But one specific nuance from Steve Kerr's comments, which is, should the NBA bring down their amount of games? We're going to debate that. It's coming up on Locked On Warriors.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Today's episode is brought to you by Doer. It's my favorite jeanswear, and they got a physical store in San Francisco in Hayes Valley. I like the performance denim slim straight. I've told you all about how versatile it is, but I also wear some of their button downs, some of their collared shirts. It's good stuff, but specifically the performance denim slim straight. It's 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. You can wear it anywhere and everywhere. They're the pioneers of blending technical innovation with everyday clothing. They invented the original performance denim, and they got Cool Max that regulates your body temperature and wicks moisture, keeps you cool and comfortable as temperatures change, which is always important in the Bay Area with those microclimates. Simply put, Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. Check them out in store in San Francisco. It's 567 Hayes Street in Hayes Valley. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code LOCKEDONSF in store to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online, shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF for 15% off. Doer is spelled D-U-E-R. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. Today's show is also brought to you by Rippling. Let me tell you a little bit about our sponsors over at Rippling. So if you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company's buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That is SAD. Software as a service. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling's the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously so simple to use. And right now you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. Learn more at Rippling, rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNBA for 6 months free. Let's get back to the show.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
All right, I want to get to that comment that came in about the bigs. It says, from Van Lee, all the best teams in the league have 2 serviceable bigs. Check the standings. Why is Dub Nation so stubborn? Small ball is dead. Look, they've backed themselves into a corner, man. They drafted James Wiseman 2nd overall, 5 years ago at this point? Like, they were hoping that their big was right there. I mean, they could have potentially had Anthony Edwards in that draft, and they said, no, we're going to stand pat and go with James Wiseman. That was supposed to be their center of the future. Unfortunately, they don't necessarily grow on trees. They haven't had a ton of first-round picks. When they've had second-round picks, they've gone with Trace Jackson Davis. They've gone with Quentin Post. They've gone with bigs. They picked up Al Horford this offseason, you know, and you can make the argument with the way DeAndre Ayton's playing that maybe he would have been the better pickup. But regardless, like, they just don't grow on trees, man.
Yeah, they don't grow on trees. And, you know, TJD, he was getting all rookie team votes for his contributions in his rookie season. He regressed last year. That's a great comment right there.
Who can stop Steph Curry? Hopefully,
See,
we never find out. It's actually the lack of contribution from role players. Yes,
that's a good one. That's a good one. And so TJD, I mean, he regressed last season. Now he's found himself out of the rotation due to roster construction. You know, Quentin Post again, I think, has added value to this team this season. I think Al Horford is a good fit, and again, they need these stretch fives, as Steve Kerr says, a space five. But it's ultimately, I don't think the Warriors' lack of size is necessarily the huge limitation. I mean, last year in the Rocket series, they still won that in 7 games. Maybe they eke it out quicker if Jimmy's not hurt and tinged up. But I mean, they were undersized in that matchup, right? When you look at Smith, when you look at Steven Adams, when you look at Şengün, and they still won that series. So I don't necessarily think it's a lack of size at the big position. I think adding Al, I think having Quentin Post is enough to make it through an 82-game season just to go bang
one
with
more
bodies.
Two-way player, man. One more two-way wing.
A consistent two-way wing that you can rely on to play a certain type of basketball night in and night out. They need just a reliable 3-and-D guy because, I mean, you know, Moody erupts Sunday night in New Orleans, which was great. It was awesome to see. I mean, knocking down 7 3-pointers in the first quarter is no small feat. But then tonight he comes out and it's effectively a nothing burger, right, on the offensive end. Moses' defense is always very consistent. I think he's really improved there. I think his shot has gotten quicker as well, like we've talked about. But, I mean, if you're going to be the starting shooting guard or the starting small forward, wherever you want to kind of slot him in, you're really going to hope for more than 6 points, right? So,
and 6 shots, not just 6 points, you know, creating for yourself and for others.
And that's I think really where Moody, his limitation is. He does not do a good job.
He's a catch and shoot dude.
Yeah, he does not do a good job. I don't want to say he can't because, you know, he made a little pull up in the lane today, but he's just not great at creating for himself off the bounce. So imagine if the Warriors had a more athletic, taller wing that could knock down shots consistently and create for themselves and still play defense as well as Moody. Like imagine if they had Wiggins in that Moody spot, right? Like that's someone that would be an awesome fit next to Jimmy and Draymond and Steph. Because, you know, Wiggins, when he's knocking down his 3-ball, I mean, heck, he's such a dynamic athlete. He's not afraid to get downhill. And when you're asking him to contribute as your third offensive option, he's really, really good. You know, he's really good. So it's players like that, Trey Murphy III, or, you know, heck, if they want to keep doubling down on small ball and going for someone like a Malik Monk, but it's someone that can really create their own shot and contribute offensively.
All right. So the Warriors clearly were just worn out by the end of this game. They've had ridiculous road trips and back-to-backs to start, including the back-to-back that'll come tomorrow. It's Miami tomorrow, correct?
Yep.
That would obviously make sense. Orlando to Miami. It's not like they're going to go up to Indy or something.
Well, not crazy. Their schedule has been tough. It wouldn't be wild if they did that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been pretty ridiculous with some of the road trips, cross country and back. And there's been a soft tissue issue. There's a tissue issue right now in the NBA. And Steve Kerr's theory to why players like Giannis is out with a groin strain and Victor Wembanyama is going to be out for some weeks with a left calf strain, basically citing that the ESPN research says that the NBA is playing at its fastest collective pace since the 88-89 season. Kerr's basically saying, look, I mean, the wear and tear on these guys' bodies from across the league, you want to beat opponents down the floor. You want to get into transition, get easy buckets. You're shooting threes. Everyone has to cover 25 feet because everyone can shoot threes. We have the data. Players are running faster. They're running further. We're doing the best we can. But basically, now that we have a game every other night, all these road trips, it's not an easy thing to do. He's saying that they should shorten the regular season if they want to focus on the product. Now, let's put it this way. 82 games in the NBA. You have all the games in the postseason. You're talking potentially an extra 20-something games if you win an NBA championship. So you're looking at potentially 100 games of basketball. That's not even including the preseason. You look at college basketball, where there's not as many injuries, it feels like. Everyone's always healthy during the most important games. They play what, 35 maybe plus. I mean, what, that Kentucky team was like 41-0 or something. So you play like 40 something games tops if you go undefeated. I'm not asking for 40, but 70 seems a little more realistic than 82, right? 66, something along those lines. What do you feel about the NBA shortening the season?
I don't necessarily think that's going to happen anytime soon, to be honest with you, Chuck. Despite
whether it happens or not, what do you think about the idea of it?
I mean, I'm a basketball junkie, so the more basketball that I get, the happier I am as an individual.
Even games in Sacramento where it's Will Richard going for 30 and
well, that's where it would have been great to see the young guys step up, and they didn't. That's where we can learn about things that we talk about in today's show, Chuck. So, I mean, look, it wouldn't. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. For exactly that point, because of the revenue aspect, right? And ultimately, I think the NBA. I mean, some of the games this season have already been electric, right? Like that Warriors-Denver game, those games in San Antonio, the game last night when the Rockets beat the Magic. You know, there have been some really, really exciting regular season games beyond the physical toll that the players are taking. I think just the skill level and the quality of play and the quality of players in the NBA. I mean, heck, you see some of these, even just some of these kids who are in high school now, what they're able to do and just the skill level. I mean, it's insane. It's really, really impressive. But equally too, it's just the amount of training that they're doing year round with probably not giving themselves enough rest to recover, contributing to these injuries. I mean, heck, even look at CMC in the NFL last season, right? Just overuse and just wear and tear. And so it wouldn't surprise me. I think that's probably an accurate estimation, an accurate analysis out of Steve. But I don't think the NBA is going to chop down the games. I also think that beyond the money aspect, they know that their number one product, there's nothing better than NBA playoff basketball. That's where, I mean, the games are just so electric. They're so physical. They let the guys play. And it's just beautiful when they really can compete in the playoffs. And if anything, maybe what they'll do is start giving teams, instead of one night off, 2 nights off in between games in the playoffs to keep the guys fresh. That wouldn't surprise me, because you look, I mean, do they really want to see Steph go down in game 1 of round 2? No, Steph's a moneymaker. So that wouldn't surprise me.
Show me the money. Magic win 121-113. In the West, OKC right now is 14-1. An absolute wagon. In the East, the Detroit Pistons, an absolute wagon. I'm going to take a little pat on the back, an early victory lap for you, boy. I said they were going to finish second in the East. Second? How about first? They're 13-2 right now. Cunningham had 25-10. Duran had 24-8. That is just a 1-2 punch right now. That's going to give the Warriors trouble when those two teams play. But the Pistons, the Thunder, those are your 2 best teams in basketball record-wise right now. Any final thoughts, Mike, before I bid you an adieu?
I don't think so, Chuck. I think it would be great. I guess, actually, you know what? That's ironic. I said I don't think so, but I do got one more thought. Big game for the Warriors tomorrow to finish this road trip 4-2, where we were, at the start of this road trip when we did a post-game last week with Kolsky and the concern that we had about, after dropping that game in OKC. If the Warriors can come out 4-2 on this road trip, I think that's a success.
Yeah. 9-7 right now. Let's get to 10-7 and get the boys some rest and head back home. Mike Loginoff. Whoa. Mike Loginoff? Chuck Walter? I'm logging off, Mike.
That's what I was going to say, Chuck.
Whatever the hell that was, man. This is Locked On Warriors. Why don't you send us home, Mike? Why don't you send us home with you?
I was going to say this is Chuck and Mike logging off.
Peace.